Franklin's Lost Expedition. The Fateful Journey. In 1845, two ships, HMS Erebus and HMS Terror, departed from England, venturing into the frigid waters of Canada's Arctic archipelago to search for the Northwest Passage. This legendary sea route, connecting the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, was a goal that many explorers longed to conquer. Upon reaching the large channel's entrance, the expedition encountered two whaling ships. The crew aboard the whaling ships were the last to see the expedition alive. Soon after, both ships, along with their 129 crew members, vanished mysteriously. For over a century, no one knew what had happened to them. Many searches were conducted, but no significant results were found. It wasn't until recent decades that clues about the fate of the expedition began to surface. Archaeologists discovered the wrecks of the ships and the remains of the crew on icy islands. Through research, they found that the crew had endured harsh conditions: starvation, disease, lead poisoning from canned food, and even evidence suggesting they resorted to cannibalism to survive. These discoveries revealed a more horrifying story than anyone could have imagined. The quest to uncover the mystery of Franklin's Lost Expedition continues, shedding light on one of the greatest maritime tragedies in history. The tragedy of the Franklin Expedition. In 1845, the two ships, Erebus and Terror, set sail from England to find the Northwest Passage, the sea route linking the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. After leaving Baffin Bay, they were last seen by two whaling ships before vanishing completely. For over a century, the fate of the expedition remained a mystery. It wasn't until recent decades that archaeologists uncovered horrifying clues about the journey. Evidence showed the ships became trapped in the ice, the crew faced starvation, disease, lead poisoning from canned food, and signs of cannibalism. Despite advanced technology, such as steam engines, heating systems, and water distillation machines, the harsh conditions and technical errors led them into tragedy. The wrecks of Erebus and Terror were discovered in 2014 and 2016, revealing one of the most sorrowful tales in maritime history. The exploration of the Franklin Expedition's mystery continues, offering new perspectives on courage, ambition, and the limits of humanity. Preparation and personnel of the Franklin Expedition. In 1845, the British Royal Navy organized a large-scale expedition with the goal of discovering the Northwest Passage, a promising sea route connecting the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. To lead this mission, the British government chose Sir John Franklin, an experienced explorer who had previously failed in his expeditions. Assisting Franklin was Francis Crozier, appointed as second-in-command and captain of HMS Terror, and James Fitzjames, third-in-command and captain of HMS Erebus. The expedition consisted of 129 members, including officers, sailors, engineers, and scientists. They hoped to make history as the first to successfully navigate this icy route. To ensure the trip's success, the Royal Navy invested in the most advanced technology of the time for the two ships. HMS Erebus and HMS Terror were fitted with ironclad hulls, allowing them to withstand pressure from large ice blocks. Both ships were equipped with steam engines and retractable propellers, allowing movement even in calm winds. The ship's heating systems protected the crew from the harsh Arctic cold, while the water distillation machines provided fresh water to sustain life. One of the most notable innovations was the canned food system, which included 16,000 food cans. This was considered a significant advancement compared to previous expeditions, providing the crew with nutrition for many years. Additionally, the team brought along a daguerreotype camera, one of the first photographic devices, to document their historic journey. With careful preparation, the Franklin Expedition set sail with unwavering confidence. However, they did not foresee that these very advanced technologies would contribute to one of the most horrifying maritime tragedies in history: the journey and mysterious disappearance. On May 19, 1845, the two ships, HMS Erebus and HMS Terror, left Greenhithe, England, carrying 129 people, with the hope of finding the Northwest Passage. They traveled through Scotland, then to Greenland, where the expedition stopped to resupply at the Whalefish Islands. Here, 5 members were dismissed from the team due to health issues, reducing the crew to 129 before they officially entered the Arctic waters. On July 12, 1845, the expedition continued toward Baffin Bay, preparing to cross the Arctic's icy straits. Here, the 2 whaling ships were the last to see HMS Erebus and HMS Terror as they entered Lancaster Sound, an important route into the Arctic. Little did anyone know that this would be the last time the Franklin expedition was seen alive. After entering the icy region, both ships and their entire crew disappeared mysteriously. Many searches were conducted in the years that followed, but no trace was found for over 150 years. It wasn't until 2014 and 2016 that the wrecks of Erebus and Terror were discovered on the Arctic seabed, gradually revealing what happened to the expedition. However, the true cause of this tragedy remains largely unsolved. The factors leading to the tragedy, although well prepared, the Franklin expedition still faced the harsh conditions of the Arctic, leading to one of the greatest maritime tragedies in history. 1. Extreme climate. Upon entering the Arctic, HMS Erebus and HMS Terror quickly became trapped in the ice, unable to move forward. The thick ice isolated the expedition, forcing them to wait for months for a chance to continue. However, during years of particularly bad weather, the ice didn't melt during the summer, trapping the ships for years. 2. Technical issues. Despite being equipped with modern steam engines, their power output was only 25 horsepower, too weak to break the ice effectively. Furthermore, the amount of fuel they carried was enough for only 12 days, rendering the engines nearly useless for most of the journey. 3. Lead poisoning from food and water. Canned food, vital for ensuring nutrition, became a deadly hazard. The food cans were sealed with low-quality lead, leading to lead poisoning after prolonged use. Additionally, the water distillation system used lead pipes, causing the crew to be exposed to toxins daily. The result was memory loss, disorientation, and severe weakness. 4. Zinc deficiency, exacerbating poisoning. A poor diet led to a zinc deficiency, causing the crew's bodies to break down bones, releasing accumulated lead into the bloodstream, worsening illness. This weakened their immune systems, making them susceptible to infections and unable to survive the Arctic's harsh conditions. These combined factors led to the tragic end of the Franklin expedition. The discoveries about the fate of the expedition. After over 150 years of mystery, researchers gradually pieced together clues to determine the disastrous fate of the Franklin expedition. 1. The first deaths on Beechey Island. In the winter of 1845 to 1846, the expedition was forced to stop at Beechey Island due to ice blocking their path. Here, 3 crew members died and were buried in makeshift graves on the island. When scientists excavated and examined the bodies in the 1980s, they found signs of pneumonia and severe lead poisoning. This supported the theory that canned food and the water distillation system contributed to the crew's health decline in the first months of the journey. 2. the wrecks of Erebus and Terror found. After many failed searches in 2014, the wreck of HMS Erebus was discovered at the bottom of the Arctic Sea, near King William Island. 2 years later, in 2016, the wreck of HMS Terror was found nearly intact under the ice. This discovery helped researchers better understand the journey of the expedition and what they experienced in their final days. 3. The crew's attempt to walk for shelter. Unable to escape the ice by ship, the crew abandoned the ships and attempted to walk southward to seek help. They dragged small boats and supplies, but were too weak to navigate the harsh, icy terrain. Researchers found the remains of many crew members along their path, indicating they died slowly from starvation, cold, and exhaustion, evidence of cannibalism. In their final days, when food ran out, the surviving crew members may have descended into utter despair. Analysis of human bones found in the area showed signs of cutting, indicating the possibility of cannibalism. A horrific tragedy reflecting the desperation and harshness they faced before the expedition completely disappeared. Although the Franklin expedition vanished mysteriously, they weren't entirely isolated. Local Inuit groups saw and even assisted some surviving members in their final days. According to the Inuit accounts, they encountered several emaciated, exhausted, and desperate sailors. Some were said to have hunted to survive, while others seemed to have lost their minds due to hunger, cold, and lead poisoning. However, at the time, the British authorities did not trust the Inuit stories. Specifically, accounts of cannibalism were strongly dismissed by the public and the families of the crew, as it went against the honor of the British Royal Navy. It wasn't until 1993, when archaeologists discovered the expedition's final campsite, that the truth was revealed. The cuts on human bones and clear evidence of cannibalism confirmed the Inuit accounts. The subsequent discoveries of the Erebus wreck in 2014 and the Terror wreck in 2016 further corroborated the evidence of the tragic fate of the Franklin expedition, closing one of the greatest mysteries in maritime history: the historical significance of the Franklin expedition. Sir John Franklin's expedition is not only one of the greatest maritime tragedies in history, but it also left many profound lessons for the maritime and exploration sciences. Despite being equipped with the most advanced technology of the time, the crew was still unable to withstand the harsh conditions of the Arctic. This underscores the limitations of humanity when facing nature and the dangers of underestimating harsh environments. One of the most important lessons from this expedition is the technology of survival and navigation in icy conditions. The ships becoming trapped in the ice and the crew's inability to escape the frozen region highlighted weaknesses in exploration strategies of the time. The experience from the Franklin tragedy helped later expeditions better prepare, particularly in choosing routes, transportation methods, and food supplies. Moreover, the issue of food safety was another vital lesson. Investigations later revealed that low-quality canned food and lead contamination greatly contributed to the crew's weakening health. This spurred improvements in food preservation technologies and raised safety standards for expeditions and military forces.